All right, well, folks, it happened to us for the first time. We got about an hour in, had an error, and we lost about an hour of. I mean, it was great coach and search talk. So we're gonna get back into it. We hope we have the kinks figured out. Before that, we are brought to you by Ferguson Family Mattress. Did you know the fitted sheet was invented in 1958, and we've been trying to fold it ever since? The Ferguson family, a local Charleston, South Carolina Christian family, has been selling name brand mattresses since 2003, with stores in North Charleston and Somerville, and online at fergusonfamilymattress.net. No matter what kind of mattress you have, that fitted sheet will never be easy to fold. Come see us at Ferguson Family Mattress, a proud sponsor of Mostly Hokies. Jacob, what do we want to talk about this afternoon?
Well, obviously, we'll dive into this coaching search as there is a lot of names in the list now. We did speak about the big name in James Franklin in that hour long that we lost. So I guess we can start off with him. Just get everybody's opinions on him as a coaching option. Obviously, I think he's top of the list. I think he's one of the better options that's out there, if not the best option out there. I think he could be a real difference maker at Virginia Tech. I think our whole goal is to try to compete soon because the conference realignment, and I don't think there's a better option out there for a guy that could come in and change your program today. So if they go out and make that move, I think it's the move that definitely can change the future. He can come in and recruit now, which could save your high school recruiting class or maybe even add to it. He can also recruit the players that are on the current roster because we all know that happens in today's college football, that everybody on your roster is going to get recruited by someone else, so you got to do it too. And I just think there's valuable players on our roster now. There's valuable players in the state of Virginia that are going to be available, especially the ones that were committed to Penn State. And James Franklin is the guy that could go in and make the difference. So I think he's the easy number one option for me now. I was a Dan Mullen guy, so I think Dan Mullen's my number two. But give me James Franklin, please, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, my opinion. I mean, I'm all in on James Franklin, and a lot of it is because, like you said, he could start mid-season. If this goes on to Thanksgiving to middle of December, then I don't know, my feelings might change. But yeah, bringing in James Franklin, who is a known good/great recruiter mid-season, just sets us up for next year so well. Also, I do another thought that I've had. There's the people that don't want James Franklin, I think, are expecting Virginia Tech to compete for national championships with this next coach, which with James Franklin's not going to happen. Obviously, like, he's shown that he can't. I think the people that want James Franklin are maybe a little bit more realistic in what they want for Virginia Tech, and that our goal should be 9 wins, 10 wins a year with this coach, with this next coach. And I mean, with his track record, James Franklin guarantees that. Maybe year one, nine or 10 wins with the guys he's going to bring in with his play style. And I mean, honestly, first and foremost, with who he plays in the ACC. He's not playing Ohio State or Indiana or USC or, Maryland. Like, even the middle of the Big Ten is better than the middle of the ACC every single year. I'm maybe in the minority that thinks he'll be able to recruit the same type of players to Virginia Tech that he does to Penn State, especially if all this money comes through. You get a big splashy hire. Maybe a couple of our big billionaires throw some big money to NIL. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing James Franklin getting some juices flowing and being able to build a good team next year. Cole, bring us down a notch.
I mean, I don't know if I can do that anymore.
Oh, really? Really?
I didn't want him at the start. I will be forthfront. I just never have been a big fan of his. But as this continues to go on, I'm sitting here and looking around and, like, I would like a Matt Campbell, but I don't think we're going to be able to go out and get him. And maybe, I don't know if I want to go the coordinator route and do like a Brian Hartline thing, but probably not. He's young. He's only been an offense coordinator for 1 year. And then, I mean, if we go to the G6, G5, whatever you want to call it, route, it's burned us once. I mean, the first 2 years started well, but after that, it was downhill, straight down, no bumps, just straight down. So with the James Franklin thing, I think he's able to elevate this program in a 2-3 year span. And after that, I don't think he would stick on. If he was able to get us to fringe playoff spot and competing potentially in an ACC championship, I feel like he would get poached to a Big Ten or SEC school if Tech's not headed that way into one of those positions.
And yeah, I mean, my opinion, that's best case scenario. If he does come here and then gets poached to, I don't know, whoever, Alabama in 4 or 5 years, that means he did good enough to get us in that spot.
Right. Exactly. I fully agree with that statement. If he got us in a spot where somebody like that wants him, then he did all he was supposed to do while he was here, but also he carried us to a position where we could be in a Big Ten or the SEC conference in the future when they realign. And I think that's the most important thing with this hire is get you somebody that can get you into those conferences, because if you get left behind, it's going to change the way you can recruit. It's going to change the way you can play. So I think that's the most important part of this coaching hire.
Yep. Blake, what are your feelings on it?
I've always liked James Franklin. Going back to Vanderbilt, they were awful for a long time, and after he left, they were awful again until Clark Lee got Jerry Kill over there. So I like what he's done at other places. He hasn't ever had a great offensive coordinator. Obviously, defensively, he's had the Brent Pryce, the Manny Diaz. They've had some really good defensive coordinators, and that's where they've hung their hat. So who's to say with his recruiting, he might say, hey, this is what's hung us up past couple of years. Let me keep the good defensive coordinators. Let me find a good OC, and maybe he can make that next step that he hadn't been able to do. He can't win the big games. He can't beat the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Oregons. But I really like him. I still, I think James Franklin, Shane Beamer, Dan Mullen, those guys recruit so well. I think they could really turn the program over really quick. But like we said, what James Franklin has going for him is we could get him now. He can get all those recruits that already decommitted. He can recruit the area. He can recruit the roster. He can hit up guys already in the portal. So he can start working now. And I just think we need to do it now before the Florida States, the Wisconsins, the Nebraskas, the whatever, it's going to trickle down. They're going to start stealing guys. You see, that Indiana just paid Signetti, so they wouldn't steal him. So more and more jobs are coming open. It seems like last year was the year that you needed to get a coach. The best jobs were Wake Forest and North Carolina out there. So, it's just get it done now. Bob Chesney's another name that is picking up steam, especially his halftime adjustment last week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 1-point game versus ODU, and they win by almost 40. He's a guy who I didn't like at first. I went to that Liberty JMU game. It's 10-10 at the half, and I was like, I don't know, man. But he's picking up steam, like Cole said. You don't know what you're going to get with a group of 5 guys. We did it with Fuente, but look at Signetti. So I don't know. Shane Beamer still has a place in my heart. I know he's falling off right now, losing to the Alabamas, the Oklahomas, who are really good teams. I just think with his recruiting, same thing. He needs to hire better coordinators. He can't hire a good OC to save his life. But, man, he can recruit. And I think if that South Carolina team was in the ACC right now, they'd be top 3, top 4. So I think he'd be a great fit. I know people don't want that to happen, but I still think he could be really successful at Virginia Tech. So those are my take. I still top 3, Franklin, Mullen, Beamer are still my top 3.
So there's two ways to think of, would it have been better to fire Pry last year versus this year? And I mean, I get last year was a lot less competitive market, but kind of how I'm seeing it is there's more candidates on the market this year. James Franklin's going to get is gotten fired. If we wanted James Franklin last year, we'd had to pay Penn State $50 million, $60 million. Good God, Lord knows what it was last year. Same thing with Shane Beamer. If his buyout's kind of confusing. People are saying it's $27 million if he gets fired, but it's $5 million if he takes another job. Or there's $27 million is a number that comes up with him, and I think that's if he gets fired. If it's like a deal to leave or something, then Virginia Tech pays $5 million, not $27 million. There's something in there like that. But he might get fired. And that's not a problem for Virginia Tech. God knows we all wanted Billy Napier years ago. I don't want him now, but he's on the market. we weren't getting him before he got fired. We weren't getting him last year. And who knows who else like that's going to come up. Luke Fickell. That's one we all wanted for years.
Yeah.
Lord, would y'all have taken him after he took Cincinnati to playoff?
I think it's an option.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, and shit, he even now, like we all know what his mistake was at Wisconsin, and you think he knows what his mistake was at Wisconsin. Just don't do that again. He took Wisconsin away from their identity, and they suck.
I mean, they're horrible. They've averaged points against Power 4 competition. 6 points.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's because they're ground and pound, big old corn-fed boys up front, and a good running back, and that's how they won 9 games under Paul Chryst for all those years. And then Luke Fickell came in and said, no, he's going to run the spread, and they don't have the guys for that. He can come to Virginia Tech and run the spread. That's kind of what we've been doing for the last 10 years. That's another guy that who knows? I mean, he might get fired. And yeah, that Wisconsin job's open. That's one that we're competing against. But that throws another name in the hat.
Yeah.
I'm not as afraid of fired coaches as a lot of other folks are. I think a change of scenery can do a lot for a career.
Yeah.
I think a change of scenery for Fickell would be like the biggest thing. Like the most impactful for one of these coaches that have gotten fired.
I think you mentioned the G5, G6, whatever you call it, level. There's a lot of names there that have potential. Silverfield, I know you see the Memphis connection. He did just lose a game, so maybe he isn't as attractive to go after. But Alex
UAB,
Golis,
right?
Yeah, UAB after they fired Trent Dilfer. Yeah,
21.5-point favorites.
Yeah, that's a rough loss. But then you got Alex Golish. You have John Summerall. There's actually some steam behind Summerall, more than I ever thought there would be. I thought for sure he was taking one of those top-tier SEC jobs. But the more and more I hear his name, the more and more people are saying he could come here. So a guy like him, I wouldn't mind. He's had SEC experience. He coached at Kentucky. And so he has the experience of coaching at a power level of football, although he wasn't the head coach. I still think he knows what goes down in those rooms and how to come in and maybe create that kind of system here. So I think he would be phenomenal if you're talking about just the G5 guys. And, of course, I already said Mullen. He's been my G5 guy for the whole entire time. I don't even think of him like that. I think of him as a power coach because of Florida, Mississippi State. And then I loved your point on Chesney. I think he's really picked it up. Like, I think there's a real world where he becomes a legit option, and it's because of the fact that he already recruits this area, so you wouldn't have to change who you're calling, who you're talking to recruiting-wise. But also his team is really, really good. I don't think that they were never supposed to be like this super team. They weren't expected to be a playoff team, I don't think. So he's got them at a level where they're doing that. I love their quarterback, which is a kid that could come with him. So there's definitely some conversation to be had with them. And then with Beamer, I think you made a good point there as well, that there's a soft spot because he is Frank's son, but also who's to say that the donator, like people donating to us and stuff, wouldn't get all behind him? And if that is the case, and he has this huge influx of money, and he is a solid coach, and he may not be, James Franklin good, but he's a solid coach. He's won games at South Carolina. What if he gets this huge influx of money because all the people that donate to us are like, yeah, we want him in there because we love the Beamer family? Maybe there is some backing behind it, and it would make sense just because of the fact that he could have all that NIL money to play with. So I think he's a real option now, more than he was before, because I think he might get fired. And if that happens, it makes it easier to make that decision.
Something.
I'll take Sellers.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Something just dawned on me with Beamer that I think makes him a more realistic option. When we're on Twitter, the message boards not so much, but the message boards are more in favor of Beamer than Twitter is for sure.
Yeah, they are.
And I think reason being is we're not this group of guys here. We're not the average Virginia Tech fan. We're one younger. Like I was, when Beamer was in his A-day, I was 9 years old, not locked into Virginia Tech football. So I don't remember those days like your 40, 50 plus year old Hokie fan that the only social media they have is Facebook. Now and is on the message boards. And those are the people with the money to donate. I'm 28 years old. I'm still paying Virginia Tech. I'm paying the banks that are paying Virginia Tech. Like I already got plenty of money going there every month. Those folks don't. They're retired, and seeing the Beamer name would bring up some good memories for them. So that little thought there just gave me a little bit of like, well, maybe Beamer is the guy. I don't know.
And there's also this talk that the committee is just set on him, and like it might be holding all of us fans, everybody back from Franklin who could be potential. I mean, he went on game day to basically say, I'm coaching next year and I want to win a national championship. And he wanted to open some people's eyes and get some real money. I mean, to me, it was a publicity stunt, but, you hear all this talk that the committee, the Eddie Rule, that these guys are pushing for Shane Beamer and they're just locked dead set on him. Hopefully they're their due diligence on multiple candidates and reaching out to agents and what they need to do. But you do get worried that, hey, they got their sights set on this one guy and you might miss out on somebody better.
Which personally, I don't get. I don't get all the reports that they're locked in on Beamer. But, I mean, Eddie Royal has forgotten more football than I'll ever know. And then not even to mention Bruce Arians, who's a Super Bowl winning coach. So I think there is, and from me, like I'm not saying everybody else is in the wrong here. I'm right there with you. There's a lot of hesitation to trust any decision maker in Blacksburg after we've been burned for so long.
I mean, maybe we talked about basketball a little bit too, but maybe that financial backing showing up there means that there's legit commitment now, and maybe that's just a positive sign for the future of football too, is that there will be legit commitment. And yeah, I mean, your point exactly, that they all like the Beamer name, so he could be the guy because of that. I don't know. It's an interesting situation for sure, and I hope we aren't, like you said, holding ourselves back from targeting some superstar or just locking in on one candidate, because you can't do that. You have to go interview everybody. If you haven't called Nick Saban yet, you're crazy. Mm-hmm. Call everybody. I mean, call all of them and make them say no. And I hope that's what they're doing. Especially locking in on one candidate that just said, ain't no damn way I'm coming to that school. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Cole, go ahead.
Like with Beamer, I think he would be the one that would open up the most pockets out of any of these coaches that we will be looking at, just because of the name, and he's been here before. And I mean, none of the other coaches that we are looking at or that are potentially on the radar have any like line of having Virginia Tech in their background. Beamer's the only one. So just having a name like that coming back to this program would open up the pocketbooks more than anybody else in this. But are you willing to give that a try just for the money, or are you trying to actually elevate and get into the SEC or Big Ten? Not saying Beamer's not going to potentially get us to that spot, but if you're on this committee, that's how you need to be looking at it. We're not going to compete necessarily for a national championship in the next 2-3 years. So you got to look at it as getting that next stepping stone to be able to go into these super conference, and then you can definitely take that step with the right people behind.
So a lot of the thing that you think about with coaches, it's a fairly minor percentage, but it's winning the press conference is a big moniker that people say you got to win the press conference. And of any of these candidates, and again, I'm still on the wait and see with Shane. Like I would not be overly excited about him being the head coach, but I like if he's above Mark Stoops for me. If Mark Stoops gets hired, I'm out.
Oh.
Like it shit's over. Shane,
definitely.
I'm just like, yeah, whatever. We'll see. But I'm sitting here right now giving myself goosebumps thinking of his introductory press conference. It ain't gonna be a dry eye in that house. It's gonna be Frank Beamer and Cheryl. Is that his wife's name?
Yep.
Yes.
Frank and Cheryl sitting there, and Shane up with his maroon blazer and his VT pin, talking about the glory days and how he was a Hokie and he grew up a Hokie and yeah, I said a lot of shit at South Carolina, but y'all know, y'all all knew this is where I wanted to be. This is my home. That would, like y'all are saying, that would win the press conference. Lord, the donations rolling in. He would need to say one time, and guys, we need help from y'all. Go to triumphnil.com. And I mean that would get the blood flowing with the most Hokies. Easy.
Yeah. Yep. And I've said this once and I'll say it again. I don't think we can go that group of 5 route, that coordinator route, even if it is from a Power 5. We got to get a proven winner. And I think that's the stance that they're taking with the money that they say they're going to put in. We got to get a proven winner. Like, go strike out from Franklin. Like Jacob said, make them say no. Franklin, Beamer, Mullen. Like, you just got to keep trying and knocking on the door of these big guys. And I think that's what you got to take. I mean, unless January's rolling around and we don't got anybody. But I think you got to go get a proven winner who is going to win. Like, I don't even want Manny Diaz. I know he's up there higher than Beamer and some guys on your board. But, I mean, didn't do the greatest at Miami. What's he, 4-2, 4-3 at Duke? I mean, yeah, he's got a good defense. I just hadn't seen enough. I mean, he did a good on defense at Penn State. So did Brent Pry. I don't know. I hadn't seen enough from Diaz to really be interested in him. I still think Beamer, at least he's losing to top 25 SEC teams. I still think that he can recruit and would take us a higher level than Diaz would. I'm not a fan.
Go ahead.
I'm a little scared with Diaz as well, to add to your point there. The only concerns I have is just he has a top 5 transfer portal quarterback in that roster right now. What did he do last year? With Malik Murphy, they weren't as good. They beat us, but they weren't as good. And do you have that same level of talent again? Can you find another top 3? I think they gave him it was an unreal amount of money. I can't remember the number.
$4 million a year for 2 years. There you go. Right?
So he got top money in the whole entire, which we should have. We should, hopefully. But also, can you entice somebody to come in there with him? I have concerns with him. And then to play the other side, to play the devil's advocate on Beamer, if he struggles and doesn't succeed, they're not pulling that trigger to fire him as fast as you would any other name. I think any other name would get fired. If Beamer loses a ton of games, he's keeping that job for at least 3 or 4 years. He's keeping that job. And honestly, he probably keeps it till the end of his contract, just because you'd have so much struggle to fire him because of who his dad is and because of who that family is and how much they mean. You wouldn't want to can him. So that's the other concern is if he struggles, I don't think Tech would pull the trigger, and that would maybe tear us down instead of build us up. So that would be the one concern that I'm okay with people pointing out and saying, man, if that happens, they're not firing him. And so that's another question mark with him. But I have actually come around a little bit with Beamer just because, like we all said, the name might help a little bit here.
One thing that I've been thinking about, especially now that we're talking about it, is with any of the group of 5s or coordinators, we have, everybody's saying we're going to be able to offer $10+ million to a head coach. I want a coach that's worth that. Yeah. I mean, Summerall's making $3 million a year, so his next job is going to be 6 or 7. And to put that $10 million number in perspective, James Franklin was making 8.5, at Penn State last year. So we should be able to get him. He's not going to have $10 million offers lined up. I don't think Florida's going to be offering him $10 million. There's not a lot of $10 million coaches out there. So if we're offering 10 or 12, that's who I want, is somebody that's worth that. That's like Chesney's making $700,000 this year, so he's getting $3 or $4 million. Now that's great. They get $8 million we can spend somewhere else. But to me that would be underwhelming, and I've tweeted this. Anybody and any coach that's not a $10 million coach at this point is going to feel like a gut punch. It's like, well, what are we doing? We could have hired Bob Chesney, Ryan Silverfield, different coordinators from different places in November, in December, when we're hiring them anyways at this point in this scenario. Why didn't we just give Pry the rest of the year or another game so we get through that 4-game deal? It would feel like a classic Virginia Tech screw up if we end up hiring Bob Chesney in January. Like, that's just, it's like, what have we done wrong here?
Another point that I guess helps the James Franklin case is that there's always been the concern that he can't find a quarterback. And that's like the whole issue, because he trusted Aller. Aller's not been anywhere near the level he was supposed to be. He's trusted other guys that have not succeeded. And the only good quarterback when it comes to just college football-wise was McSorley in the 2016 team. Why don't you just go hire James Franklin and then call your buddy down the road in Norfolk State and say, hey, do you want to coach some quarterbacks for a big dollar sign? And a quarterback will want to play for him. So there's the whole thought process of who the head coach is, but also who's the staff surrounding the head coach. Can you get James Franklin and then build a super staff around him, because you don't have to pay him this monster contract? You could actually maybe get away with paying him less than you would. I don't know some of the other names, but he only made 8.5, like you said, and there's that whole thing with his contract, how much he's going to make from this buyout. As long as he works, then they will pay him. He has to get a job, which he obviously wants to, and then they'll pay him anyway. So he's going to make all that money. So what's to say you have to give him $12 million and go spend $2.5 and get Mike Vick to come be your quarterback coach, and let him try to entice all these quarterbacks that are high-level guys, especially the dual threat guys, which is what Tech likes anyways. So I think you could build a super staff, and if that's the case, you let Franklin be this awesome recruiter and just build this unbelievable staff around him. I just feel like it sets you up to succeed so well, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's question marks obviously there too. Can you convince Vic to come over? I think he said the whole thing about wanting to turn around Norfolk State because that's where he's from, and the whole thing about that. But I think if you're offering him that job and that much money at the school he just, that he's the most famous for and everybody loves him, I think it'd be hard for him to turn that down. So,
also you could go and get a Brian Randall too. That's at William and Mary.
There's interesting scenarios for sure if you go build a super staff.
Yeah, I feel like I might be in the vast minority here, but I want to go around the room. I'm going to pitch something to y'all. So we hire James Franklin, and his first phone call is for a defensive coordinator.
Yep, I'll take it.
Cole, what do you think? If it's announced that Brent Pry is going to be the defensive coordinator for James Franklin at Blacksburg, how do you feel about it?
I wouldn't be upset.
Maybe I'm not in the minority.
I wouldn't be upset. Like, I truly believe he loved this place.
Yeah.
He might have not succeeded the way he wanted to, but he loved this place. And I was just thinking about it earlier today. And, so does every recruit just sign back that decommitted from us? He didn't leave. He left, but he didn't leave at the same time. So, I wouldn't hate it. I would be A-okay with it. I figured wherever Franklin goes, Pry's probably going with him. And
at least as an analyst or something.
I was like, maybe that's what holds Franklin back from coming to Tech, is just having Pry here the season before. But if it were to bring both of them in, I'll take it. Sign me up.
Well, there's the biggest thing in my mind, like a realistic reason why not that people could present is that the players would be more loyal to Pry than they would be to Franklin. I don't see that as a problem because most of the time the players are more loyal to their position coach than the head coach. Look at Amani Hansberry. He wasn't more loyal to whoever the hell that head coach was. He was obviously more loyal to Chester Frazier. That's crossing sports there, but we see all the time. Like you think those receivers are following Brent Pry where they go? Hell no, they're following Fontaine Mines wherever he goes. There's probably good coordinator would keep this team here. He's a known good recruiter. I don't know. I wouldn't be mad at it. Blake, what would you think about it?
I wouldn't be mad either. And again, like Cole said, like that was my first thought when Franklin went on the board. I'm like, does Brent Pry tell him the nitty gritty, the dirty skeletons behind the closet that is going to keep him from coming here, or is he going to say, hey, man, I loved it there. I couldn't recruit on the right level. I couldn't win the close games. I think you can do it though, and I want to do it with you. I mean, I wouldn't be mad. It would be a little weird, and I think as far as the players, I think Franklin's going to bring in much better players. So hopefully we get an influx of much better talent, and you're not worried about Prize guys and Franklin's guys. But like I said, it'd be a little weird, but I wouldn't be too mad at it. I think everybody rooted for Brent Pry. They wanted him to do good. He was like a gritty Virginia Tech guy who just couldn't win the close games and just didn't have the recruiting touch that we needed, or maybe he just didn't have the money. He obviously couldn't win the close games and didn't know the X's and O's and 2-minute drills, but now they're putting some bigger money behind it. I mean, that could just be the difference there. Another thing that, we really got to worry about is, if Florida pulls Lane Kiffin, then Ole Miss is coming open. If LSU fires Brian Kelly, I mean, Franklin's going to be gone off the board somewhere else. So we just got to do something quicker. We can't drag our feet because more and more big jobs. It sounds like this is the season where a lot of big jobs are about to come open.
So I know I'm looking at it through orange and maroon glasses, but I know Virginia Tech is not capital NOT the best job out there. But and then another caveat is I know these coaches think differently than all the rest of us. But in my opinion, if I was going to coach somewhere, I would think Oklahoma State and Virginia Tech I would listen to, especially at the same amount of money. I would listen to them before I would Florida or LSU or whoever. Do you see their freaking schedules this year?
Dude, it's much
ridiculous.
Easier to land. It's easier to make the playoff. You're getting the same money. Why not go win some games? And you've been recruiting the DMV.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. The Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, go beat up on the Boston colleges, the Cows.
The UCFs, like.
In the SEC, you used to have Vandy, but now they look like a playoff team.
Kentucky's the worst team there, and they'd kick the shit out of half the ACC.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
They almost won over the weekend. They lost in overtime. I mean, yeah, I'm with you right there. Hey, also, they're saying the Maryland job is about to come open. I'm like, man, like we gotta lock Franklin down. That's my eyes.
That's a similar area that would be more of a concern to me than even. I don't think he would take the Florida job. I don't see it. I obviously Dan Mullen ain't taking the Florida job, so there's two of our candidates that I know isn't going to go. I don't think will go to Florida. I am concerned once these other jobs start opening up, though. Like what happens if Matt Rule goes to Penn State? Nebraska becomes really enticing. They've obviously shown they're going to put a ton of money into that program. They went out and got like multiple 5-stars in one class just because they gave them a ton of money. So that would be kind of concerning. To go back to the Brent Pry point with the DC, before I say the negative of it, I'm going to say I agree. I think it'd be awesome to come back as a decent defensive coordinator. I think people loved him. We all loved him. We wanted him to succeed. We were all pulling for him and hoping he would do it. Whereas Justin Fuente, when he come back, I was like, just get out of here, please. Just lose and get out of here. I hate you. So that whole conversation is easy because it was a guy that we all liked. He seemed to fit the culture, if you want to say that, with the area. But to play the other side of it, it's well, if he was going to be your defensive coordinator next year, why wasn't he your defensive coordinator in the 4 years he was your head coach? Why didn't he take over the defense and become the defensive coordinator? Because there's always been the question marks of we had awful defenses, and there was no way he thought he could try to fix that with his scheme and his system. And I could hear people argue that is like, well, he wasn't our defensive coordinator for the whole entire time he was coaching us. Why could he do it now? And so, yeah, I can hear that side of it. But at the same time, I think, like you said, Blake, there's talent, the talent difference that he didn't have. Super's talent. He started a linebacker for 4 years that I would argue is not startable linebacker. And if you got James Franklin coming over, he's bringing startable linebackers, especially in the ACC. He's bringing you defensive players that can make a difference on that side of the ball. So I could hear the argument for the whole why didn't he call our defense for the whole time he was here, but at the same time, he didn't have the level of talent that James Franklin could bring in and bolster up this team and give us a better chance. So I would be happy if he come in. And I don't think he'd get paid some crazy amount because he just got $4 million from us. So
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's kind of
Clark-
like the Billy Napier thing with him calling the offense. That's what got him fired.
yeah,
I mean, Philip Montgomery at Tulsa. It's the great coordinators don't always make good head coaches.
yeah.
Well, look at Clark Lee. He took over the defense last year at Vandy and saved his job. That bringing in Jerry Kill as well, but Pry could have tried that this year. Obviously, you don't want to do that because the scheme that Cephas is running right now is completely different than anything Pry did. So he couldn't put his hands on that at all. But he could have said like, "Hey, I'm going to bring in somebody run something similar, and I'm going to be the defensive coordinator as well," to maybe save his job, but never did it.
It would be so comical. Like, I almost hope it happens because I'm just going to have such a field day with it on Twitter because I'd be so pissed about it. If Penn State hires Matt Rule after firing James Franklin for not being able to beat top 10 teams, hires Matt Rule, who is 0-30 against top 10 teams, they're replacing James Franklin with him. And then if Florida, who plays in big games every freaking week, hires the guy that just got fired for not being able to win top 10 games, like what? the argument that Virginia Tech fans, I've been kind of working on a tweet about this. I wrote it in my drafts at like 3 a.m. last night. The argument that Virginia Tech fans have been using against James Franklin is not relevant to Virginia Tech, that he can't beat top 10 teams or he can't win the big game. Both teams have to be good for it to be a big game. And like if he's losing big games, that means he's got Virginia Tech playing in big games. When we play Miami this year and they're 7th in the country, if they keep winning, that ain't a big game. It's not. That game's not going to get picked on game day. So what are we talking about? Florida, on the other hand, they can use that as a reason to not want James Franklin, that he can't win the big game. They have been good more recently, and they're on their schedule. Like Virginia Tech, if you look back over the last 5 or 10 years, we play a top 10 team like once every other year. They play 5 every year. Like, if that's half your schedule that he's known to not be able to beat, then that's a problem. But if it's unranked teams that he is 71-7 against, and 9 of Virginia Tech's opponents every year are unranked, I'm not complaining about that.
We're going back to the Beamer days.
Exactly,
10-win seasons,
yeah.
baby.
No complaints. None. No complaints at all if that happens.
Yeah,
I feel like Florida's coaching search starts with Lane Kiffin and ends with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, they have to get
I don't know who they would go out and get if he says no.
Why does
Like,
he go
but
there
if
though?
I'm old,
This is what I heard.
If I'm Old Miss, I'd give him a Kirk Cignetti contract
Yeah.
before anything happens.
Yeah, definitely. So I heard Lane Kiffin's wife did not want to move to Ole Miss, and that they like separated, but they're still married. But they have a house in Florida, and they still have a house in Cali, and that he might want to work on his marriage and take that Florida job. That's some stuff I heard today from a friend who's a Florida fan.
Love it. On the Swamp 247 message board.
Well, I heard like that he was when Auburn was trying to hire him that his kids were the reason why he stayed. Like they did not want to move again because they were with him at Tennessee, they were with him at USC, and then they were with him at Florida Atlantic. And then once he got to Ole Miss, they didn't want to leave after that when he was floated around for the Auburn job.
Yeah, I mean, and he is if Florida wants to pony up and have $100 million bill, he's a guy you pay $12 million, $13 million a year for if you're the Florida Gators. Gosh, the guy has an E60 or whatever, 30 for 30 about him, like.
Listen,
and a good 30 for 30.
Whatever Nick Saban taught him in Alabama, because he was not good at Tennessee. He was not good at USC or in the NFL. What was he, the Oakland Raiders for a little bit? He wasn't good. He goes and takes the OC position at Alabama, and all of a sudden he's killing it at Ole Miss. I mean, he's done amazing. I exceeded my. I mean, look at Sarkisian. Same thing, similar route. He's done good at Texas. So, man, it's pretty good. He's going to get paid, or he's going to keep getting paid where he's at, like Signetti. Hey, I don't got too much time left. Do we want to hit a little bit of basketball?
I think we'll do that next time. We have about 30 minutes of basketball. I'll throw on the end of here. But I got some more thoughts on the coaching stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you gonna hang out, or you need to hop off?
I can hang out for a little bit longer.
Cool. So I think you bring up a great point there, the Nick Saban coaching tree, and I want to bring up a name that has kind of fallen off. A lot of thoughts. It didn't make my little graphic. I'm all about. I think Terry said something about Nick Saban's wife said something about it at game day. They want to ride around and watch all their baby coaches, which I thought was kind of cute. She's sweet. Charles Huff. He's in the Nick Saban coaching tree. He's done well at every stop. For Virginia Tech, he might be higher than some of those other G5 guys for me. What do y'all think of him?
Let me look and see how he's done at Southern Miss this year.
I don't know about this year.
5-2.
I don't know too much about him.
He had a lot of success at Marshall.
They won the conference, didn't they, last year?
Right, yeah, and then they wouldn't pay him, so he left and went to a conference rival and brought his entire team with him. And then, of course, in 2022, they went on to win the Myrtle Beach Bowl. They went 9-4 that year, so had a pretty good run. 6-7 2023, so not as great that year, but then got back and went 10-3 and won the conference last year. So he's had success there. I think he recruits Virginia relatively well too. So that's another one that makes sense, like you said, with the all those other group of five, like John Summerall, Alex Golish, those guys aren't recruiting Virginia, and he's in Virginia and recruits Virginia or West Virginia. At the time
from Maryland, played at Hampton.
I mean, Golish wasn't Golish at Tennessee, and that's where Hooker went when. I want to say he was the OC when Hooker went there.
That sounds right. But yeah, I mean Huff, he has associate head coach with Nick Saban on his resume.
I mean, you can't argue against that coaching tree.
He was high up on my list when we hired Pry.
Yeah. I mean,
I like him, but again, he's not proven $10 million.
No. He's in the if we're I'm back. I back.
He's in late
there.
December. If he's in late December,
he's a $4 or $5 million a year guy. If we're down to Ryan Silverfield and even Alex Golish and Bob Chesney, then Charles Huff I think is higher on that list on that group of people for me than maybe he is for a lot of other people.
Yeah, I'd probably put Chesney over him. In my opinion, I love his defense is just stifling. I mean, he's gaining steam on me. What you got, Jacob?
I was going to say, I think that whole list of group of five guys you named, I think Huff is probably up there just because he coached with Saban. It just seems to work. I don't know how it happens, but they all do well. And then those names you named, but then the other two G5s like Mullen and Summerall, I'd have above him. But other than that, yeah, I think Charles Huff would be a fine option late in the process, which is what you hope isn't happening. But if it does, I do agree with you that wouldn't be the end of the world. That's not. I mean, I'd much rather do that than hire Mark Stoops right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot better option than what some of the things that have been laid out. So, yeah, I don't think it's it wouldn't be like I wouldn't be super happy about it, but I also wouldn't be like, oh man, well it's over.
So
Because I think he could have some success.
Yeah, the biggest thing that scares me about Chesney, and I don't know shit about football. Some people have said that this is a plus on him, but for Charles Huff, when you read down through his coaching career, again, I don't know football. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know X's and O's, but when you look down Charles Huff, you see Vanderbilt, you see Penn State, you see Mississippi State associate head coach, Alabama associate head coach, and then Marshall and Southern Miss. When you look at the same thing for Bob Chesney, the only school that I have ever heard of before James Madison is Holy Cross.
Yeah.
That just gives me a little bit of pause on Chesney, and that this is just year 2 at James Madison. Now, what you've heard, what I've heard to the contrary of that is he's won everywhere he's been. And if you're winning he won 11-2, 9-3, 11-2 at Assumption, the Assumption Greyhounds.
Division 2. Yeah.
But
never heard of it before.
It's JMU, and they've picked their coaches perfectly.
Sure.
The past 2-3 coaching searches. Like Kirk Cincinnati, he's at the top right now. Yeah. And you would have asked me who the heck that was 3-4 years ago, couldn't have told you.
I do like that thought. Just JMU being the breeding ground for let their AD pick our coaches.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
If you go back and look at it, he was coach of the year in the Patriot League. He was coach of the year multiple times in Division III, where he was at, and then he was multiple time. I mean, obviously, yes, playing past as well, played college football, but so in the Patriot League, he won 5 championships. And then in the NE10, which is the Northeast 10 Conference, which is in Division II, he won 2 championships in 3 years. So he won all the time. Now, again, though it's really low-level football when you get down to Division III, but he still won a lot in those divisions. So there's a real argument to be had that he was the best available coach at that level. And like you said, they have kind of hit the home run with the hires there. They've nailed a couple of them in a row. So maybe they just
do we know any info on his coordinators? Is he bringing those guys with him? Is he going and getting them from JMU?
That's another good point. His coaching tree is going to be a little bit more narrow than other guys.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of buddies that have coached at the high levels yet.
Yeah.
But I do like that he's been a head coach at all these spots. Like,
yeah,
it's like a little bit of like, I guess, where he's been at these D3 levels. He hasn't been with lots of money. It's basically him just coaching football. And like nowadays you can kind of bring in an OC or a DC that will elevate the recruiting. And he just needs to focus on football, but also allowing his coordinators and his position coaches to do that recruiting. So we need a football coach, and we need a really good football coach.
And I mean that even gives me pause on even Sumrall, who a lot of people are very high on. He would probably be in the $5 to $7 million range. His coaching history is I mean he does have Ole Miss, he does have Kentucky, but as a head coach, he won at Troy. He's doing good at Tulane. But yeah, again, I mean, I want the $10 million coach. Also, I haven't heard this brought up very much. Sumrall played at Kentucky, and that job is one that's looking like it's very likely to open up. Yeah. He's got to move immediately to the top of that list, right?
He would.
Yeah, I think so.
He's already coached there, and he played there. So, yeah, I mean, that seems like the guarantee top of the list hire for them would be Sumrall. That's why, like, I think the only way you could get him specifically, if that job opens, is the ability to outpay him potentially. And I don't know what Kentucky's given Stoops, but I think it's quite a bit.
It's a lot. It's like 9,
but
I think.
You're like at Kentucky, you're going to be in second place.
Yeah.
That basketball program is before you.
Yeah, and that's the concern I've heard with Arkansas too. is the basketball program takes all the money. And
Yeah.
Do y'all
So-
know much about? I've heard some like Arkansas has money problems. What the hell could
I
their
don't
money
think
problems
they-
be with Tyson Chicken and Walmart? And do y'all know?
I just don't think they've had the coach that they've wanted, so they're not funding that program.
So Sam Walton's tightening up the old purse strings a little bit.
So if they get the right guy, I'm sure the pocketbooks would open up.
I mean, Calipari's taking a ton of money for basketball now, though. So that's something to think about. Is they said, I can't remember the number they gave, but I think there was like a number that came out that said they were getting like basically what we were getting, but in the SEC, and that was last year, like when we only gave $17.5 million to our football team in total, and apparently that's what he was getting in the SEC, and that's why he couldn't recruit anybody because they liked him. Sam Pittman was liked by the players, and then Petrino. I mean, he obviously knows how to coach an offense. They score 1 million points a game. They just can't play any defense. They like that staff. There's just zero money behind the football team. So I don't even know if that improves because they're not changing the whole athletic department revenue, and basketball is only taking more because they succeeded last year. And Calipari went and won games for the first time in a while in the tournament. So I don't think it's a more enticing job than ours. I think the only jobs out there that are just on a level of they're better than ours, Penn State and Florida clearly have draw to be better than ours. But I even think the precedent that's set at Penn State now is unbelievable. I mean, you're mad that your coach won 38 games the last 3 years. Like, that's peeing you off, is it? Or 34 games?
It's more pressure.
There's a lot of pressure.
It's higher level. Maybe it's a better job, but it's way more pressure.
Yeah,
so I don't know if that makes it a better job. Hey, another twist. I mean, do we keep any of our coaches? I mean, everybody likes Fontel Mines, J.C. Price, Adibi's worked his way up. Those are the only three in my head that I'd actually want to keep. But do you see a Franklin or a Mullen or a Beamer? I see Beamer. I could see Beamer keeping those guys, but I don't know about the other ones.
That's a good point.
You better keep
Beamer would probably be the one to keep some of the Virginia Tech guys here, but I don't think any of the other ones are going to put out their, I guess, job on the line to keep some of the guys here.
The 247 guys have said that both Beamer and Franklin have tried to hire away Mines.
You better keep him.
So
he's going to
yeah.
You don't.
I think he'd be the most likely one to stay.
We got to keep him from Virginia. I mean, that's where he went. We got to keep him.
He recruits Virginia receivers extremely well.
Also, would be comical if Anthony Poindexter ended up on the Virginia Tech staff, because when we were looking for a DC, I brought up his name as an option, and there were a lot of UVA fans who were like, "He'll never coach at Tech. He'll never coach at Tech." Which, I mean, might very well be true. He may never coach at Tech. But I bet it would be awfully hard if James Franklin, who's already passed him over multiple times for defensive coordinator. But if James Franklin were like, all right, come on, you'll be the DC now.
You'll be the DC now.
I was a big Torian Gray guy when we were hiring someone for Justin Fuente. I was like, just get him in here.
I was mad when we lost him. Yeah.
Well, that's a plus of Beamer. You almost for sure bring Torian Gray back.
Yep.
Which is he? He's not the DC there, is he?
No.
Nah, he's just DBs, I think.
Got
secondary.
It. Does he have aspirations to DC?
I would think if you're in this, you're always trying to take that next step. So I feel like he would, if he was offered that spot, he would take that hands down.
But yeah, no, Torian Gray recruiting corners and Fontel Mines recruiting receivers. I wouldn't be mad at that.
I'll tell you what else. Gray coached with Dan Mullen at Florida as well.
Yeah.
So
that's where he was at when, I guess, Fuente was looking for the DC.
Yeah, so maybe there's a connection there too. If you brought in a Mullen, maybe he could get him. Maybe he could convince him.
Oh, was that under Todd Grantham?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't bring his name up for DC under the next coach. He just got his ass canned at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, I got to roll.
All right, we'll see. We'll wrap. We're probably wrapping up right here. Do y'all have any? You can hop off whenever you're ready, Blake. So yeah, do y'all have any other final thoughts on coaches?
We just got to make the right hire.
Yeah.
I don't know when this is going to happen, who it's going to be, but just make sure it's right.
I keep checking Twitter for that Pete Thamel, Virginia Tech, and Justin or whatever his name is, James Franklin are close to a deal.
Oh yeah, that day would be wonderful if we can get that.
I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like we're going to somehow get some name nobody has had on their coaching search.
Oh yeah, he won't have a Wikipedia page. It'll be some absolute nobody that was was an analyst at Virginia Tech under Bill Dooley back before Beamer. Like that'll who it'll be. He had 1 year in Blacksburg and he's a Hokie, man. He's a Hokie. That's who it'll be. Yep. Or somebody from Radford that grew up a Virginia Tech fan. That's the Wofford defensive coordinator right now, or whoever the hell. Like,
I've got you a name here. We're going to go out and hire Dewey Lusk, coaches down at Bluefield College.
There you go.
He's a Christiansburg native, born and raised.
That's right. He's a Hokie, by God.
He's Christiansburg, born and raised. Bringing him Dewey Lusk. I just had to name that name because I have some buddies that play at Bluefield College. So
funny.
They've got Dewey Lusk as their coach, and he's wonderful.
What about Brian Steinspring?
He's
coaching
one
at college.
Roanoke now.
Yeah, he's with the Maroons.
Yep.
Who's the? There was another one that Byron Leftwich.
Yep, because Bruce and Leftwich have a connection.
They brought him up in the message board just about burned down.
Yeah, that was bad. It was really bad.
Golly, yeah, no, there's some bad ones out there, and that's who we're gonna hire. We're gonna hire Brian Steinspring. We're gonna hire Brian.
Hey, he's 4-1 at Roanoke this year.
We're God, it's I'm ready. I'm ready for that. I'm jumping through the roof if it's a $10 million a year coach, but maybe at this point I'd rather have a Brian Steinspring or whoever else we just said over Mark Stoops.
Yeah.
Keep the Mark Stoops talk out of here, man.
Please don't hire Mark Stoops. You have to pay a $50 million buyout to hire Mark.
Bob Stoops, if he wanted to get back into it.
Yeah, bring him on down.
He's only a year older than Signetti.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that. That's a way out of left field name.
Yeah.
I think he's only 64, and yeah, Signetti's 63, I think.
How bad do you think it has to go for us to be like, there's no other option, and we just go get Michael Vick?
Bad.
How bad do you think this coaching search has to turn out for that to happen?
Bad. Like really, really bad. I mean, like, there might be a world where UCLA out hires us or something, and then you're like, well, we can't even out hire them. Then you might just hang it up at that point.
That's hiring Michael Vick at Virginia Tech right now is like starting your 6th round quarterback week 1 against the Chiefs. Like, it's not going to be good for anybody, mostly him. Now, I think here's maybe best case scenario for Virginia Tech. You hire James Franklin. He's here 4 or 5 years, makes 2 or 3 playoffs. Michael Vick keeps cutting his teeth. He moves from Norfolk State to JMU to William & Mary, wherever. Maybe has some success, and then when Franklin jumps ship for wherever he's going next, then you look at Michael Vick. And that could be he's here for 30 years coach.
You could build the Dion system of just being able to recruit with your name, and that might, honestly, in the NIL era, that kind of works for years. They're having a down year right now, but who's to say they can't go out and land some massive transfer quarterback in the next section when all these coaches are leaving. I mean, what happens if Beamer does leave and Lenoris doesn't want to go play for Beamer wherever he goes? You telling me that Dion's...
Well, I feel... So, Beamer comes. You throw a bag at Michael Vick just to get Sellers here.
Yeah. 100%.
That's all you do.
You give him so
I
much
don't know if
quarterback
Vic could
coach.
be OC, but you
No.
make him the highest paid quarterbacks coach just to get Sellers in here. And Sellers would tear the ACC up. It doesn't matter who's on that offensive line.
Yeah. I don't know if there'd be a better quarterback in the conference. You'd have the potential to have the best quarterback in the conference. So,
Well, he's only making
I
400.
had my fun slandering him this summer, but I will back him up 1,000,000,000%.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Vic's only making $400,000 right now. So 6 or 7's not a crazy number for a quarterback's coach. Is he worth that? I don't know. Probably not, but
The name will be at
When you got the money, you could bring in. I mean, Lenora Sellers is worth giving him 600,000 or 700,000. So
yeah. So no, I don't know. I just Michael Vick is my coach in waiting. I don't want to bring him off the bench too early and ruin his career like Brent Pry just did. No, but he's not getting another head coaching job anywhere for the next 10 years unless he decides to go the UAB or somewhere. Yeah. But shit, they're not going to be lining up, and nobody's going to be lining up to hire him. I don't want the same thing for Michael Vick.
And you just don't want to ruin his reputation.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing. You reminded me. I wonder if that's going to happen with Deion Sanders. Does the shine kind of wear off after a couple of 5-win seasons? Are the Travis Hunters not going to be lining up to go play for him after he's proven that after Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders move on that he can't do it? I'm very interested to see how that that TikTok clickbait coach does after not having success for a couple of years.
They haven't. I mean, if you go look at their schedule, because that's the fun point to talk about with the whole how does that work and what will happen next year. They did lose to Georgia Tech week 1 by 7, BYU by 3, who's undefeated, and then they lost to TCU.
Yeah, all their games have been relatively close.
Yeah, they've not lost to bad football teams, but they also haven't blown out. They only beat Wyoming by 17. They only beat Delaware by 24. So they aren't blowing anybody out. Now they did just get a huge win over Iowa State, and they play Utah this week. So there's the whole that he could turn it around this year and have a decent year because they went and grabbed Caden Salter from Liberty, and he's actually a pretty decent quarterback. But I agree with you. I think there's a world where that whole thing just kind of dies down, and then that players aren't as interested in just going to Colorado to be with him.
Yep. All right, any final thoughts on football coaching? All right, so now for those listening, we're going to throw it over to you're kind of picking up in the middle of a basketball talk from last week from where I screwed up and lost the video, and I really didn't feel like listening to it to figure out where we were. So I am just going to publish it, and we're going to listen to it, and we will add on to whatever thoughts we had on that in our next episode. So we're going to throw it over to that now. Thank you all for watching. Please catch us next time.
I mean, UVA got a new coach this year, and they're going from one of the slowest paced teams that nobody really wants to watch that basketball, but Tony Bennett made it work and was able to win a billion of games there. But now they're going to a fast pace with Odom, and how's that going to work? It could work phenomenally or couldn't work at all. We'll find out in year 1.
Truthfully, I hope they're great. And it's not because I like them. I just think it would help the conference. I think we need 5 teams in the conference to be really, really good. So it boosts your ability to go on the road and get a huge win or bring them into your building and get a huge win. Because last year, if you played an ACC team at home that wasn't Duke or Louisville, you didn't get a quad 1 win. And you have to have quad 1 wins. And Tech had a couple wins over teams that generally would have been those, and they were so bad or just not near as good as they usually are, and it hurt just the whole conference as a whole. It hurt everybody because –
Well, it even hurts the conference when Duke goes 20-0 in the conference.
Yeah,
you need these teams to knock each other off. And
you need a little bit of parity. You need a little bit of parity in the conference.
You need to kind of be like the SEC football right now. anybody can beat anybody.
Yep.
I think the SEC and the Big Ten have that, and even the Big 12 in basketball right now have a deep conference. But I think the ACC hurt themselves too when we added 18 teams, because we added Stanford and Cal, who both are terrible at basketball, and they just haven't been good at basketball. And then SMU, who had one good year last year and didn't even make the tournament. I don't expect them to be towards the top of the rankings at all anymore. So you added 3 teams that are probably bottom 5 teams in your conference, and they aren't really helping football out either. I mean, SMU did, but the other 2 certainly aren't. So that only hurt the conference, and unfortunately, that kind of forced the whole play 18 games in conference play instead of 20, because you have to try to get 2 more out-of-conference opponents to make up for the weaker bottom half of the conference. There's an argument to be made this year. The bottom, 7 or 8 teams are kind of rough. Maybe the bottom 6, but I don't know. I think it's really important to see the top end of the conference succeed. So it's going to be weird because, you don't want to pull for NC State. You don't want to pull for UVA out of conference play. But we need them to be good, especially out of conference play, so that Tech can get some big wins in conference play this year.
Yeah,
Tech's road schedule in conference is terrible. It's crazy hard.
Which is good. It's good. You can get some of those.
It's good if you can win the game.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. I've been on record saying I'm not afraid to say that Virginia Tech could be in that 3 to 5 range in the conference. Reason being, Mike Young, talented team, and then that next group after Duke and Louisville consists of, UVA, NC State, UNC. Who UNC's been shaky the last year or two, and NC State and UVA are year one under coaches. You have no idea how they're going to be, and for Virginia Tech, if we could have. I think if 95% of Hokie Nation could have put up a list of the guys you wanted back from last year's team, it's the 4 that came back. Yes. Lawal, Hammond, Schutz, and Tyler Johnson. 4 ball players, 4 ACC caliber starter, good ball players. And then the other thing that just excites me, and obviously this is all, nobody can get hurt basically. Before Neo, we would have been talking about Amani as our best player and about how he's such a good basketball player, because he is such a good basketball player. And now we're not even talking about him because Neo is going to be that guy. I have a hope. We haven't had it. Storm Murphy tried to be it, but since Seth Allen and Justin Robinson, we haven't had that guy that, at the end of the game, we want the ball in your hands, go drive the lane and get us a bucket. Since Justin Robinson and Seth Allen shortly before him, we haven't had that, and I'm really excited to see Neo in that role this year.
Oh yeah. I think I saw I think it may have been Ryan Hammer was talking about it, but he was just saying Tech will be so centered around him at the end of games. He was they may say Ben Hammond's their point guard, but he said in the final 5 minutes, the ball is not leaving Neo's hand unless he finds someone else to get the big shot off of his playmaking ability. But he's that good. He can be. I guess I can't say he's that good, but in my eyes, he's that good. He's going to be. And the comparison that was made that's not all that great because the team around them was worse was Trae Young, and how he absolutely carried the Oklahoma team, because the roster around Trae Young was terrible. I mean, they were horrible, but he averaged 28 and 10. If you get that level of play, if you can get a 20 and 7 guy out of Neo, unbelievable year you could have. If it's just, you just have to have him be successful, and like you said, you can't have a big injury. You cannot have that this year.
It wouldn't surprise me if we finished at 3 or if we finished at 7. In the ACC. I would not be surprised anywhere in that range.
Yeah.
Where they're projecting us at 12, that would surprise me.
It's crazy. I think that you mentioned top of the conference. If I was to give what I think the top of the conference looks like this year, it's funny because I think, again, Duke and Louisville, I think those are I don't know if Louisville is there yet, but they could definitely be. Pat Kelsey's a phenomenal coach. They could be national championship level contenders. Their rosters are definitely good enough to do that, and their coaching staff have proved they can coach them to that level. NC State has a coach that has won everywhere he's been at. It's just like you said, what was the roster gonna mend together very well? Virginia, I think Odom's a phenomenal coach. I think it was a great hire. I hated when they did it because I was like, dang, they nailed that.
Yeah.
But the roster has to work perfectly. It has to mend together well. And then North Carolina, I think, has the talent, the roster talent. If you go look through their 1 through 6, we're talking about guys that were wanted by everybody around the country. But then their question mark is their coach. They've had no success with Hubert. He's been back and forth as a coach. So the question mark would come with him as a coach, not necessarily the roster talent. So you have question marks for those 3 teams. And then Tech, the big question mark is, what can Mike Young do with legit talent? Because it doesn't seem like we should have a coach or talent problem this year, and that should lead to success. You're talking about 3 other teams that have question marks. Tech is in that conversation, I think. They're right there. And I think those 6 teams, to me, and maybe a Clemson due to their coach, or maybe a Syracuse due to the money they spent in the offseason, I think that's your tournament teams from the conference. I think you're looking at 6 to 7 tournament teams from the conference, which would be a really big improvement on last season.
So the biggest factor to the conference will be that ACC SEC challenge.
Yeah. You have to win.
You have to go 500 or 40 to 60%. Yeah. If you're in that ballpark, you're going to be getting more than 5 or 4 teams like we did last year.
For sure. Yeah. I think right now, if I was picking teams, I think they would be on, like, I mean, again, I don't know how high we could be, but like the 7 to 10 seed line is where I think they would sit as of today. But again, I think they could prove things and be better than that. But that would, let's just say they're the 6th team, that puts all the other teams in pretty comfortably, and then that one team sitting on the bubble. That's where I think we're at right now, if I was just picking out the conference currently. But I think Tech can be better than Virginia, so I probably would have them at 5 in the conference personally. But so I like us so far.
Here's a little reason to get excited. Our under Mike Young, the point guard, the guy that's had the ball in his hands at the end of the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, I might be leaving one out, but started with Landers Nolley, who had a decent college career, but certainly wasn't anything spectacular in his true freshman season at Virginia Tech. Pretty sure he handed the ball off to Storm Murphy. Might have been a guy in between there, but Storm Murphy was the ACC championship team. That was 22. So Landers Nolley would have been 2020.
Wabisa Beatty.
There you go. Yeah. Wabisa, who good defensive player, but nothing on offense. And then, Storm Murphy. And then, Rechsteiner? Was he the next one, 23 and 24?
Padula.
Okay. Yep. So Padula's the one good player out of those 4 or 5 to me. And he was still young at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
But even still, he fits in that group. Neo is light years above anybody in that group.
Especially as a playmaker.
It's literally like having Nickeil Alexander-Walker back.
Yeah.
That's what I would compare it to. I'm not saying their games are similar, but that's how I would think about it.
The level of play.
Level of
basketball
potential lottery pick coming in.
Because comparison-wise, I mean, this is crazy, and it's not the same player, but the comparison he's getting is Luka Doncic. That's the comparison he's getting. Because he's 6'9", Luka's 6'9". He plays European-style basketball the way that Luka plays it. He's probably actually a better defender because he's more physical than Luka was, but Luka is a better offensive player. But he's going to be similar when it comes to the way he can rebound because of his size. He can play 1 through 4. He can shoot, which is what Luka does at such a good level. But also he's a high-level playmaker. I mean, a top-tier playmaker coming overseas. So there's a world where he might be, the leading scorer, the leading playmaker, and the leading rebounder. There's a chance he does all 3. That's why he gets the Luka Doncic comparison. I don't think he's Luka good. Luka was doing it at like 17. So there's a little difference between the players. But I think that is a great comparison when you just talk about the way the game could translate to the American style of basketball.
I got a hotly debated topic across all of sports fandom, and I have a point to it. Why I'm bringing it up. What do y'all think what era of basketball is better? The 80s and 90s or today? Obviously, the Jordan era versus the Jordan versus the LeBron debate. Which era of basketball do y'all think was better, harder to win in, whatever?
I think there's more talent, obviously, just solely based on the fact that there's more human beings on the planet. So there's going to be more talent. I think the bench players now are levels above the bench players then. But when it comes to just purely how much fun is it to watch the game, I think the '90s. I'm a Michael Jordan fan, so I'm gonna always Jordan's my goat. I think he's the best player to ever play the sport, and I think watching that era of basketball is a ton of fun. So, but is the talent level the same? No, the talent now is better just because international and there's more people.
Well, it's the talent level and the athleticism combined. Like the athleticism, I feel like is on a totally different chart than it used to be. But the only time I'll ever watch the NBA is maybe the NBA finals. And
I don't watch much.
I live in Philly, so if we go to a 76ers game, like if I attend the game, then I'll watch it. But
Yeah.
I'm not turning on the game and just sitting there watching it. I will sit down and watch college basketball.
Yes, college
I'm just a
basketball.
college guy through and through.
I love college basketball.
So the reason I bring it up is Neo kind of fits the mold. My opinion, the superstars are the superstars. If you put Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Magic Johnson in today's game, they're superstars. Those guys were just athletes. They could do it today. Kind of like you said, though, the bench players. Oh my gosh, it's just a completely different ballgame. The talent is so much deeper now than it ever was. Your seventh or eighth man off the bench could have went in and been one of the superstars in the 80s or 90s. I firmly believe that. Reason being, I mean, look at Ben Simmons. He's a 6'10" point guard who couldn't make it in the NBA. Ben Simmons is dominating in the 80s and 90s. And it's like just big guys just didn't move like that back then. Neo is a 6'9" point guard. Luka is a 6'9" point guard. Those guys were Magic Johnson was like a 6'8", 6'9" point guard who was like one of the best players of the era. And that was it. There just weren't 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" point guards back then. It's just a different level of talent these days. Look at what Wemby's doing now. What's he doing in the 80s or 90s? If he can stay on the court.
He's an anomaly.
Yeah. But is he
I don't
that
think
much
anybody
anymore?
can stop him at any time.
Yeah, but is he an anomaly anymore? You got Alex Sarr, you got Chet Holmgren. Like, there's a handful of them now. There's 7 3-point guards. Like, seeing Wemby bring the ball up the court is like, what the hell is going on? What do you do with that?
The only other guy that did that in the old time basketball was Will Chamberlain.
Yeah. And he's the best ever. Like,
he dominated his era better than anybody
Like
ever.
move out of the way, he has the ball.
His era was literally score 50 a game because nobody else was anywhere near as good as he was.
yeah, you put Wemby, you put Chet, you put I guess Alex Sarr, who is the newest one of those three. You put them in that era, and it's they're just standing under the basket and just dropping it in because nobody's on that level. Literally height, literally nobody's on that level. Yeah. That's basketball. I'm excited. We're a couple weeks away. Hopefully you get a couple of tune-up games that the football team didn't get. So
A lot of tune-up games.
yeah, we're gonna get a couple of weeks of happiness there until we play Providence, and Lord knows it might all come crashing down right then.
Well, also to piggyback off that, our non-conference schedule could hurt us at the end of this.
Yeah. You can't if you want to be a top 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, you got to go undefeated.
Yeah. There's no debate.
And you have to, the battle for the battle for Atlantis, the battle of Atlantis, one of the
battle
two.
for Atlantis. Yeah.
But you have to make the championship game.
Yeah. St.
You
Mary's
can lose
really,
the chance. You can lose the championship game, but you have to get there.
St. Mary's is constantly a top 20 team in basketball. So yeah, I think they're the only one you could reason with losing to.
Yeah, and that whole tournament's down this year.
Yes, it's because the Players Era tournament that takes place in Vegas. They pay NIL out to the winner, so the winner gets NIL money. So what teams don't want NIL money?
Yeah, the battle for Atlantis, I think it is like a decent field, and I mean it's a 3-game tournament, which is pretty awesome. A lot of them are going to 2-game tournaments these days.
Yeah, it's on our side. It's hold on, let me do this off the top.
It's
of my head.
actually like a championship.
It's us, Colorado State, and then whoever wins that will play St. Mary's or Wichita.
Yeah.
Then I want to say it's VCU, Vandy. And
The other side is Vandy versus Western Kentucky, and then VCU versus USF.
Yep, and Wichita
Okay.
Wichita State's in there too.
Yeah, they play St. Mary's.
Yeah, so like there's some basketball brands in this tournament.
Right.
Vandy's been decent at basketball recently. Obviously VCU, they've made a couple of Final Fours here recently. Wichita State can pop up and be in the Sweet 16 any year. But I personally I haven't seen very much that any of those teams are going to be very good this year. Even let me check KenPom for St. Mary's. I didn't even think they were looking that good this year.
well, even KenPom has us at like 71 or
Yeah, I
72.
know.
But I will say, KenPom takes statistics based on the last 3 seasons. So
Fair.
it pulls statistics from a pool of stats that you've put on the table, and then part of the statistic now is a coaching statistic as well. And like Mike Young's coaching statistic is going to be crap because his team, not because of him. So
When St. Mary's is projected at 55, and they've been good for the last few years.
yeah,
So
yeah, there's question marks on it. Like theirs probably gets lowered a ton by their coaching. I don't even know who their coach is, so that could be why. But yeah, I think Tech is probably Vanderbilt's by far the best team in that field. They're 19th in KenPom, so Vanderbilt is a quad 1 win and would be that all year if you can beat them. So I guess I would say there's 2 teams in that are, if you lose, it's not like the other world end of the world, and that's Vanderbilt and St. Mary's.
Yeah, but the Providence game, the second game of the season, is going to be big tone setter. If you can go out and win that game, I mean that's like a Mike Young Michigan State game.
Yeah, they're actually ranked higher than St. Mary's in KenPom.
yeah, they're like 48 something.
48. Yep.
Yeah.
They would be.
And they're supposed to be a tournament team this year. So as many tournament wins as you can stack up is only going to benefit you.
Yes.
You can't have a ridiculous loss.
It's weird because when you watch college basketball, especially with the way the quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4 system works nowadays, you almost, once you play a team, want to pull for them the rest of the year because you want them to be in that whatever you play them at, because it's on the roads top 75, neutral court top 50. So when we beat if we beat a St. Mary's or a Vandy, we want them to be really good all year. So it keeps us in that quad 1 because last year there were certain teams that missed the tournament that had like really good records but had no quad 1 wins. And if you don't have a quad 1 win, they almost don't consider you for the tournament. Like even if you were like 30-5, you can miss the tournament with no quad 1 wins. So you just have to have at least a few of those. And if Tech can pick up 2, I mean, imagine if you can have 2 early in the season, Providence and Vanderbilt in that championship game, that would be incredible to have those under your belt before you got to ACC play. It would be such a boost to the full season.
Yeah, and I mean you gotta. I have my eyes set on undefeated in non-conference, and then, I mean, gosh, scrolling through the conference schedule. I mean, UVA will probably be a toss-up, but then it goes Wake, it goes Stanford, Cal, SMU, Notre Dame, Syracuse, and then you got Louisville. I imagine Georgia Tech will probably be a decent team this year. Then you got Duke. Then you got NC State, who's going to be another tough one. Clemson's a tough one. But then you close out with Florida State, Miami, Wake, Carolina would be a tough one, Boston College, and then UVA again. I mean, that for this team, I mean, there's like 9 or 10 games you gotta win that like can't be losses with the Boston Colleges, the Wakes, the Cals, the Stanfords, maybe even Florida State and Miami.
I see us splitting the Virginia series.
Yeah,
it's just the way it's been done the past couple of years, and I wouldn't be surprised if it.
And we'll lose at home and win in Charlottesville. It's probably.
Yeah. It was funny because like, what was it? Wasn't last year or was it 2 years ago? We beat them like 70-40, blew them out of the water, and then played them again, and they beat us by like 8 or something. It was like, how did we play that team and beat them by 30? and then play them again, and they look like they could just control us the whole game.
Same
But I
things.
guess-
Same
Does
things
it
happen the
look
other way
better
around.
to win
Yeah.
on the road than at home? Say we were to split, would it look better if we won at home or if we won at their place? Like,
You technically you have to win at home because those are the ones that will bite you if you're quad 3 losses or quad 2 losses. So you want to win at home, but like obviously it'd be really important if you could catch a quad 1 win. The whole system is so important to just like as the year goes on. I think maybe David Cunningham to give him some props on what he does on his work, but he releases like a chart and it'll show you each opponent based on where they would sit at in the quad rankings, and he does it each week. Like he updates it based on who they've played, and towards the end of the year, it's really important because he'll start doing like updates on games that could change your record. So he'll post. I think like with the women's basketball team last year, we needed some of those to stay quad 1s at the end of the year, and they all lost. So it killed our quad 1 schedule, which is why we missed the tournament by one team because we lost all our quad 1 wins right at the end of the year. So you have to just pay a lot of attention to it. It's way different than college football. You have a lot of different things, moving parts that can change the way the season looks as a whole each week.
You going to that Duquesne exhibition next weekend?
I would love to go to it. I would love to be in attendance for as many home games as I can be in attendance for. Sadly, where I'm graduating in December, I couldn't buy a season ticket, which I think is the stupidest thing ever because where I technically won't be a student, the second half of the year, I wouldn't be able to due to the fact that I won't be able to show a Hokie P and prove I'm a student or whatever. So I'm hoping that like I can get into all of them just asking for the tickets, and if I can, I'm gonna get into a lot of games because I think my sister will end up cheering games there too, so my parents will come down, and so hopefully I can coerce the parents into buying.
Buying one extra.
Yeah.
So are you staying in Blacksburg for the spring?
I have lease through the spring, so
Gotcha.
we'll see what.
Cool. Well, yeah, maybe we'll get you some media credentials if we can.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal.
I wouldn't get your hopes up for basketball or football or anything, but some like women's basketball and wrestling and whatnot. That's what I was able to get back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. That's pretty much it. We covered basketball. Looked at the schedule. Hit football bye week. Hey, going 0-0 this week, guys.
Yes. Who's about?
We're not going 0-1. We can actually just sit around and watch football and be happy and man.
don't have to worry about anything.
That's right. Yeah, favorite week of the year. Wrestling's got some big things going on. Their season starting soon. Got a couple of big commits, but yeah, I think we've hit it pretty well for today. Y'all got any final thoughts?
Just quickly, I will say on wrestling, looks like both Flo and Intermat have us ranked 9th. So, once again, expected to be a top 10 team. I think did some good portal work this year, added some pieces that could push them over the edge. I think Tech might be the favorite in conference once again, so that's a positive. Could get another conference championship on the board. And then Caleb Henson, I mean, he's pound for pound the number 4 wrestler in the entire world, or country, I should say. And then, of course, he's number 1 in his class. So you're looking at another guy that could win us a national championship individually. But I think if we want to catch one in the team spectrum, we might need to wait 2 years.
It's wrestling's just so annoying. Any other sport, you look and see your 9 preseason, and you're like,
feel great.
And you're like, oh man, we can win national championship.
Yeah.
In wrestling, you can be 9, and you can beat the number 14 team 34-3.
Yeah.
And think you got something, and then go wrestle Penn State or Iowa State and get beat 34-3. It's just there's such a divide there between those top 3 or 4 teams and everybody else.
Penn State, Iowa, Nebraska, and someone else that just like
Oklahoma State's always up there. Iowa State's always up there. There's like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah. That it's just Virginia Tech, it's going to need some more Bo Bassett's and Melvin Millers to be able to compete with. Which, hey, hopefully those two start the ball rolling on that.
Yep.
Yeah. But, yeah, wrestling definitely looks like our most likely option at a team national championship, unless we hire James Franklin on the football side. And then
yeah. Especially 2 years down the road,
yeah.
too, with some wrestling. You might have a chance in 2 years.
Yeah. Yep. All right, well, that's mostly Hokies, and we'll catch you all next time.